ابوالفرز العباس یا ابوالفرز العباس.
Maybe we could try something the next song. It's an old song called Said and Done.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X research and professional physicist. And today I'd like to bring to you another one of my articles. This one's entitled Pole Shift and Crustal Displacement, Safe Zones. This article is an update on Article 657, where I detail the safest zones for surviving a Planet X cataclysm. In that article, I considered a broad range of Planet X effects, a large part of which are volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. Since then, I have come to understand that the Earth is in imminent danger of going through a pole shift and crustal displacement due to Earth's core shifting its axis of rotation. And you may look at Article 660 entitled Cracks Appearing Worldwide Point to Imminent ELE Pole Shift. According to this scenario, volcanic eruptions are not the primary concern, but rather surviving a huge shaking of the Earth. In other words, a worldwide earthquake which will lead to huge cracks appearing and mountains and islands disappearing within a few minutes. However, the regions I named as the safest possible place to be still remain so, and these are high altitude plateaus, which I also mention in this article for completeness. In addition, although the volcanic eruptions are no longer the main concern, it is important to remain far from any volcano that is active or showing any sign of activity, as these are regions where a connection between the surface and the core has been established, and an eruption at the time or soon after the shaking is not out of the question. The most important is to stay away from the coastlines and go to the highest stable elevation available. Any cliffs or sharp gradients should be avoided, as these will most likely collapse and break apart. And so during a pole shift and crustal displacement, huge cracks are expected to develop, especially where the ground is not stable, where it's not made of high density volcanic rock. So you would end up with a scenario like this. High altitude volcanic plateaus between 1,000 and 2,000 meters in altitude, that is between 3,300 and 6,600 feet, are the safest zones. The ground in these plateaus is made of very dense solid rock, which will resist cracking and break up. The higher the elevation, the thicker the volcanic rock formation making up the ground, thus making it more stable. But eventually the altitude makes the amount of oxygen in the atmosphere too low for comfort. And the drop in temperatures in winter is also likely to make survival difficult. The most suitable location in North America is thus the Colorado Plateau, which, although close to volcanoes that are known to be active, it has an elevation of between 6,100 and 2,134 meters, so that's about between 2,000 and 7,000 feet, which is practically ideal, but I would still choose to locate to a region within it that is above 1,000 meters or 3,000 feet. And here you can see where all the volcanoes are in North America, and the Colorado Plateau is around here, and there are volcanoes in the area that are known to be active, so it's important not to be too close to these. And so in North America, it's best to avoid the east and the west coast and the New Madrid seismic zone, as these would be the worst hit regions. And you can see a map of the Colorado Plateau. You can see what states it occurs in: Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. Now there is another plateau region called the Ozarks. This region may provide some stability, but its maximum elevation is only 780 meters or 2,500 feet, with much of the region being only at 500 feet. It is also too close to the New Madrid seismic zone. So there is the New Madrid here, which will become extremely unstable during a pole shift event, with possibly huge cracks appearing throughout this region. However, the higher elevations in the Ozarks region may provide a measure of safety. You can see what it looks like. So locating to a zone up here may be a good place. I don't think it's as good as the Colorado Plateau, but it may provide a measure of safety, and the lower elevation probably means that it has a good climate. Now in Canada, there is the Interior Plateau, which is in British Columbia. You can see it here, with a maximum elevation of 840 meters, and that's a bit below the ideal 1,000 meters, which may provide some safety for those with the will but without the means to go any further from the current location. There is also the Missouri Plateau, which has a maximum elevation of 3,000 feet, 900 meters. You can see it here, and may provide a measure of stability. So a large part of it is in central Canada. Now in the UK there is the East Durham Plateau, but the elevation is low, only 200 meters. Basically, the UK has low elevation almost throughout, and the ground in this plateau is made of limestone, not volcanic rock, so it will not offer much stability. The best option in the UK is the Scottish Highlands, with the elevation going above 1,000 meters in places, and the sea cliffs of up to 350 meters in height. You can see some of these here. Since tsunami waves higher than 350 meters may occur, however, it is best to remain as far as possible from the cliffs and to seek higher elevations, but as close to flat as possible. And here you can see the Scottish Highlands. So this, I think, is the best location for the UK. I think there are some high elevations in Ireland as well as cliffs that may provide some measure of safety. Now, in Europe, the largest plateau is the Iberian Peninsula, where the countries of Portugal and Spain are located, with altitudes ranging from 200 to 900 meters. The plateau regions offer some measure of protection. Mountainous regions, and of course, should still remain as far away from the coastline as possible. Mountainous regions in Central Europe may also offer some protection, but the possibility of rock slides and unstable slopes should be considered. So the chosen location should have high elevation and be relatively flat, whilst remaining away from any cliffs or sharp inclines. In South America, and this is one of the best regions worldwide, is the Guiana Shield, and the highest elevations occur in Venezuela. So, and this is a seismically stable region, so this is a very good location, very good safe location. And the highest elevation is in Venezuela, about 900 meters. It is a little below 1,000 meters, but I think that's okay. I think it's a very good location because it's away from these volcanoes here that are active. And so it's over here, it's seismically stable. There hardly ever any earthquakes anywhere near this region, so this is a very good region. Now, the location of the Tibetan and Loess plateaus is shown here, and the Tibetan plateau is the largest on Earth and has a typical elevation of 3,000 meters, so 10,000 feet. That's a little too high for comfort, too little oxygen to breathe. But if there are, and I think there are some lower elevations within it, perhaps to the south, and close to the other one, so to the east, and that's the Loess plateau to the east. You may find some good, very good locations around here. So this is the largest plateau in the world, and also seismically stable. And then there's the Loess plateau, which is to the east, and its average elevation is 1,200 meters or 4,000 feet, and that's just ideal. So these are just about the best locations on Earth. Now in Russia, there are very few volcanoes in Russia. There's just that one there. There's the Central Siberian Plateau, and so this would be the ideal place to survive. Its elevation between 500 and 700 meters. It's a little on the low side, but since it's quite far from the oceans, right in the center there, and it's not a bad location, I think it's the safest zone in Russia. Australia has a big problem because the whole of the continent has a low elevation, and the interior is mainly desert. And there are volcanoes on the eastern side, but because they don't seem to be active for pole shift survival, these regions then become suitable. However, the elevation, as you can see, is very low just about everywhere. There is one area here that offers high elevation, so that may be suitable. That's Canberra there. But here on the west coast, we don't see very much. And I did mention in the previous article Adelaide there, I thought it may be a good region if you stay away from the coast and go to the higher elevation. It has a suitable climate. You can see here the climate here is temperate. So these you may find a good region, high elevation. If it's quite flat, remember that mountaintops are not necessarily a good place. Mountains can just collapse during a pole shift. You have to make sure that the ground is made of volcanic rock and no sharp inclines. Southern Africa has a very large and very high volcanic plateau, which makes the region very seismically stable. Any earthquakes occurring in this region are usually a sign that earthquake activity is reaching an extreme high level everywhere else in the world. Johannesburg, South Africa, at an altitude of 1,700 meters and built on extremely dense rock, is thus one of the safest places to be on Earth when the pole shift and crustal displacement occurs. The problem with this region is the corrupt government and high crime rate. And here you can see where the volcanoes occur in Africa. So you can see there are no volcanoes in Southern Africa. So Angola, Namibia, this is Botswana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Mozambique, none have volcanoes. But some are in the lowlands, whilst there's the central plateau that goes all the way up. This is Spartan. All the way up into Angola and all the way up into Zambia on this side. So it's a very good place to be. And specifically, Johannesburg has an extremely dense ground rocks. It's built on very, very dense ground. So it's a very, very stable place to be. And so you can see this is a political map. It shows Zambia there, so South Africa, and there's Johannesburg. And here's another map that also shows Pretoria is the capital. It's also a very good place to be. So the Central Plateau is mostly hard igneous rock, particularly in the Johannesburg region, and are similar to the shield which occurs in Venezuela and is therefore seismically stable. So in conclusion, the Earth is likely to experience a pole shift and crustal displacement imminently. The safest places to be during a pole shift is on high volcanic plateaus, remembering to stay away from active volcanoes. If you are not able to relocate, remember that ultimately only the Creator of the universe can provide a truly safe place, as only He can truly save any of us. And thus seeking Him may be the best preparation that anyone can do. And these are the references. This is Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X physicist. Thank you for watching.